Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Off-Farm Income Podcast. Hey, thank you so much for joining us here on our YouTube channel for episode number 945. And hey, we're 1 week away from Christmas. That is, if you're listening to this on the day it comes out. So Merry Christmas to all of you. And man, talking about fun today. You know, it's a wonderful season, and we are going to interview two very fun ladies today. We're going to be speaking with Ally and Robyn Spears, the owners, the creators of Junkn and Disorderly. And they have got quite a story about entrepreneurship, antiques, agriculture, and farming. Two different states, Texas and California, and how they have tied all of that together. It is a great story. I feel like these guys already have a great business going, and I feel like they are just at the beginning stages of where they're going to go with this. It's a really, really cool thing. They've recognized a really cool thing that they are doing, and we are going to get that started for you right now. Ally and Robyn, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for coming on today.
Thank you for having us.
Yes, we're excited to be here.
Hey, you guys are welcome, and I'm looking forward to speaking with you. You are for me, looking for guests to come on the show and to interview people, I'm always out combing the internet, trying to find people doing interesting things because, I can afford only so much gas to drive around and look for people in person. And so I found you guys on Instagram, and you're selling, the name of your business is great, Junkn and Disorderly, but you're selling antiques, and that's not normally the type of business I would profile on the show, but your Instagram page is filled with pictures of farm animals, and I thought, okay, there is a connection here. So I'm looking forward to finding that out. Now, right now I'm looking at your background on Zoom, and you're obviously at a trade show. Where am I talking to you from?
We are in Fort Worth, Texas at the NFR at Will Rogers right now, currently.
Okay.
Setting up, getting ready.
Okay. So you're going to have all your wares and everything on display for the NFR for Cowboy Christmas.
Yeah, we're excited.
We're at that point where it's kind of like a little bit of panic has set in. It opens tomorrow at 9, and it's like all the fine tuning going on right now. So that anxiety level is a little high, but it always works out. So
yeah. We often joke that before we do a sale or a vendor event, very much so the disorderly part of our name is 100% accurate.
That is awesome. Have you participated in NFR before?
No, we have not. We actually have done some smaller vendor type events in California. And we do a lot of our sourcing in Texas. So we were like, hey, let's throw our name out there and see what happens. Okay. And we thought there's no way that we're going to get a booth. And when we were notified that they wanted us, we were like, well, we're going right to the Super Bowl. So here we are.
Yeah, you really are. Wow. And what, we'll get into this in a minute, but obviously one of you lives in California, one of you lives in Texas. So for this to be the year where the NFR comes to Fort Worth, this is a big change for the NFR, but here it is right in your backyard. And so an opportunity really opened up for you.
Yeah, it kind of became the perfect storm, I guess you could say, for just the way we do things and where we're located and all of that.
Yeah. Gotcha. Okay. Well, you guys, now, most of the time, I always like to ask my guests how their businesses began, what the origins of their business were. But the name of your business is so good, Junkn and Disorderly. And maybe this is because I used to be a police officer that I like this name so much. This is almost like a movie that you had to make a movie because you came up with such a good title. It's almost like you had to make a business because you came up with such a good business name. Now, I'm assuming that's not how it happened, but maybe I'm wrong. How did this business get started?
I'm going to let you well, the business, we actually were under a different name, and it started with
Robyn's Nest.
It was Robyn's Nest, which was my first name.
Okay.
And I found out quickly that there are like a million Robyn's Nests.
Okay.
So we were like, this is not this is not the name we need. And so her and I started at that point really like, okay, we need to take this to the next level. We want to make this, catchy. We want, to be kind of more, timely, I guess you could say. and you literally had just turned 21,
Yeah.
I think. And when we have a barn sale, which is something that we do in California, it is a huge, disorderly, disorganized, chaotic mess before we actually open the gates and have people come. And we always say, like, I usually have a breakdown before we have a sale. Like, it's not going to happen. We can't do this. It's too much. What have we gotten ourselves into? And then somehow it all just kind of comes together, and we end up with, not to pat myself on the back, but we usually have an amazing venue. And so the disorderly part of it is a really big part of what we have to go through to get to the end.
Yeah.
So then you explain how you came up with that.
Yeah, so we'll kind of to back up a little bit. This all started because I came to Texas to attend Texas A&M, and we went and visited Chip and Joanna Gaines' Magnolia, and we're shopping and looking around, and we were kind of like, we could do this. Like, people started asking us to bring them stuff back, and we went to Round Top and shopped around there, and like we just had all of these people in California that were like, hey, can you bring me this? Hey, can you bring me that? And so we were kind of like, we have the clientele, it sounds like, and the people who want these items. Why don't we start loading a livestock trailer?
And we live on a ranch already. We have a barn, we have animals, we have agricultural backgrounds, and it was just our property lent itself to barn sales. So then that's sort of how the whole thing started. And we went pretty big right out of the gate with
big barn sale. And
and it took about a year for Allie and I to decide this was a business we wanted to do as a mother-daughter team. And then we started looking for the name. We needed a better name. We needed a catchy name.
The website, all of that kind of stuff just kind of evolved over time. And now we're about a year in underneath this name. And I would say 2020 has been a crazy year, obviously, but been a very good year for us as far as growth and everything. So we're lucky in that sense. If you would have told us a year ago that we would be standing at NFR, I would have told you you're crazy.
Or on a
podcast.
Thanks for lumping me in with the NFR. We're on equal playing footing here. Yeah. Well, that's really cool. So we've got a year under the name Junkn Disorderly. How long do we have as a business?
This is about the fourth year.
Yeah.
Okay.
Fourth year.
Okay. And
started.
Oh, I'm sorry. And so to help me clarify it, so then Robyn, Allie, are you living in Texas? Do I have that right?
Yes. So I still live in Texas. I graduated 2 years ago from A&M, and now I work at A&M, and so I'm still here in Texas.
Okay. And then Robyn, you're in California still.
I am. Yes. We live in California. So yeah, my husband and I live in California. And our son is gone off to the University of Oregon. And so our kids are, we're in California.
Yeah. Oregon, Texas. Different.
Yeah.
Different.
Yeah. Very.
Or maybe I should say Round Top, Texas versus Eugene, Oregon. Very different. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So where is the ranch?
The ranch is in Brentwood, California, which is northern California.
Okay.
So we're east of San Francisco. It used to be a small rural community, and it's grown up a lot. But we still have a 30-acre piece that is unincorporated around us. So we have a little piece of heaven, we call it.
Mm-hmm. I've spent plenty of time in Brentwood. I like to refer to my stepmoms in the plural because I had a few stepmoms when I was a kid, and one of them, her parents lived in Brentwood, so we went there quite a bit.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's funny. Small.
Yeah. One of my stepmoms. So anyway, that's my way of being funny, my self-effacing humor. Okay, and then Allie, you're in Round Top, Texas. So how did you choose Round Top? By the way, I was looking at Round Top on, I've got it right? Round Top?
Yes. So I actually live in Bryan, Texas, Bryan College Station, where A&M is.
Oh, okay.
Round Top is about 40 minutes from where I live, and that's where we do the majority of our shopping and picking and stuff that we collect.
Okay, well, we'll get into that in a second. I had another comment about that. I looked up Round Top on the map.
Yeah.
And there's only one other town I've ever seen on a map with less streets than Round Top, and that is where I grew up, which is Valley Home, California. That's the only town I know of with less streets. Valley Home.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, just north of Oakdale. Yeah.
Yes.
So yeah, I was looking at Round Top and I was like, it's not on the interstate. There's only like 9 streets. I think this is where I want to live. I'm gonna go find this place.
It's really a cool little town.
Yeah, it's like
sure.
population of 90 when normal time, and then when the antique shows are going on, it's like population of 90,000. So it definitely grows for those 2 weeks.
They changed the sign even.
Okay, there's clearly something I don't understand because I'm not in the antique world. So Round Top is some sort of an epicenter for antiquing, obviously.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's
twice a year they have what they call Antiques Week, and it really is more like 6 weeks, but there's like one official week, and there's 27 miles of booths and vendors and shops, and it's literally 27 miles of antiques. And as many years as we've gone and as many days as we've spent there, you can't even scratch the surface to get through it all. So it is literally an antique Mecca. It's like we call it the happiest place on earth. So.
It's better than Disneyland.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's why it's listed on your website as one of your locations.
Yes.
Okay, very interesting. Now, man, there's a million ways I could go with this interview. I just want to learn from you. So help me understand, if you're going to a Mecca like this, where all these people have brought antiques, and I'm assuming you can shop through and purchase, right? At Round Top.
Yep.
If you're doing that, how are you making money later? So obviously you've got to mark up whatever you purchased. Are you making money in the purchase of the antiques? Are you making money in the markup? Are you making money on both? How is this a profitable business? How does that work?
It's the marketing part, the selling part. So it's such a good question you asked, because when we started, we did everything wrong.
Yeah.
We bought really high priced, really unique antiques that I loved, but we paid way too much for them. So we learned very quickly, these are not the pieces that you purchase to turn over and resell. So we have learned a lot about buying and merchandising and marketing and purchasing and reselling. So for us, yes, it's in the reselling of the. So you have to buy smart for sure. Buy smart.
Okay.
And we really learned about what our customers want. It's not, we'll sell a big piece now and then, but it's not the big pieces. It's the little things that they can incorporate quickly into their home, decor items, unique things. But so we've had a quick learning curve on how to purchase things.
Okay. Now, you talked about buying specific for your customers. Do you have regular customers that you know what they're looking for, and so you're constantly on the hunt? Or do you have customers that you know what type of stuff they like, and you're constantly looking for something for them? Or how does that part work?
Yeah, so a little bit of both, actually. And I think this has kind of been an evolution of our business. At first, it was kind of some shots in the dark of like, wow, we really like this. We hope everybody else is going to like it. But now we have a very loyal customer base that come to every barn sale, buy. We do Facebook Lives every Tuesday. We call them Tumbleweed Tuesdays. We have a very loyal group that connects and watches every Tuesday. And then we're getting DMs constantly of, hey, do you have this in stock? Or can you find this? If you're going to Texas, can you bring me one? And then we also really try to watch, like when we go to Round Top or Canton or these places that we buy in Texas, we really try to watch, okay, what are general population grabbing when they're coming through here? And we try to focus on those items to buy more so in the bulk of things, and then bring those back to California or put on the website or whatever it is.
Okay, I think I'm putting it together in my head. So you're going down to Round Top, which is like, this is going to be a horrible way of describing it, but they're like the wholesalers of antiques. Then you're
okay.
But you see what I'm saying, and then you're purchasing a bunch of product. Now, where the service you're providing to people is that you're transporting all this product back to Brentwood. You're having your barn sale, and all these people from 360 degrees around you, from San Francisco down to Sacramento that whole area, they can come to your barn sale and they can find antiques that otherwise they'd have to drive to Texas to find.
Exactly.
Yep. That's exactly our business model.
That's our business. Yes, that's it. And honestly, because of Joanna and Chip Gaines, and everyone watching their show that was so popular a few years ago, everybody wanted a little piece of Texas to put in their house. Mm-hmm. And that's how this started for us. And we were able to provide that for our community. And then we're also part of our business that we're trying to take to the next level, which COVID completely ruined for us, was taking people to Round Top and helping them find and kind of giving them the experience of picking, and then also bringing their things back to California. So taking them on junk journeys, and actually taking them to the places that we shop.
Yeah. So and then a tour guide type of situation.
Kind of like a guided hunting thing, or a guided fishing trip. It's like a guided shopping trip.
Shopping. Explain to me what a junk journey is. This guided hunt for antiques is intriguing to me. What is a junk journey?
Go ahead.
So it came from really me. I have 3 sisters and my mom, and we took them. We're like, you guys have to come to Round Top. Like, you wouldn't even believe how amazing this is. So they're always up for, whatever we're doing. So they came with us, and we took them shopping, and we kind of just started going around to all the different places that we shop at, and they were buying things. And then you can't put things in your suitcase, obviously, to take home when you're, buying big things like that you're using for decor. And so it kind of came from that idea of like, why don't we? And actually my husband, who was kind of the naysayer in the beginning about all this, he was like, oh my God, now what are you doing? He was like, why don't you guys take people and be the tour guides and take them shopping and bring their stuff back to California? Yeah. So it really came from him. And I had kind of been thinking about it, but I didn't really I hadn't put it all together. And then we started bouncing it off of one another. And the junk journey part, the name kind of came in, and we actually did take some friends. We did it with some friends last year. They had a great time. We took them to all the fun places. We actually have a house that we used as an Airbnb, so we had a place to stay. Took him to really cool restaurants. Did a whole a week, a girls' trip basically, and incorporated antique shopping.
Yeah, and really social media also. When we go shopping in these places and post our story or pictures, people go crazy. Oh my God, I need to go. And so that's kind of where it all stemmed from. A mixture, I guess, of all of that, and then here we are with Junk Journeys now.
Wow. Okay, so I was misunderstanding it. First, I thought a junk journey was virtual, but you literally have people there with you in person, and you're taking them to all these spots.
Yes. So they basically are responsible for getting themselves to Texas. Usually Austin is the best airport, and then we pick them up from the airport, and then from that point on, we take care of the lodging, food, transportation, showing them the best places to pick and all of that. So yeah, kind of like we said earlier, it's really a guided shopping experience.
And since we're bringing, goods back for our own purposes in Brentwood, we can bring their items back, ship them back for them, bring them back for them, which is huge, because that's the problem, is shipping costs a lot. And if people go shopping, if you're shopping there, you're not going to fit, everything in your suitcase. There's no way. So that lends itself to people being able to really shop for things that they would like to bring home to their homes. So again, this year with COVID, dates got changed, things got canceled. So it hasn't really taken off. That's the next part of our business that we'd like to try to.
So have you done one of these? So you've done it one time then, is that right? Had one group of people go with you?
Two actually. Yeah, twice.
Okay. And so the idea is that they pay you. It's like for me, if I wanted to go to Europe and tour European farms, I could pay a tour guide or a group to take me over there and take me on a prearranged tour. You guys charge a fee to come and do this with you, and you lend your expertise and also your trailer for getting stuff back to California.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
Oh, now, so as this grows and you develop the junk journeys, how many people can you take on tour, and how many times of year can you do tours?
Good question. We can do it twice a year because Round Top it happens in the spring and in the fall. So ideally, we would do one trip each for each antique week, and we could probably do up to 10 to 12 people per trip. Yeah. So we could do like 12 people at a time for each antique weekend.
Yeah.
Saying that
Yeah.
right?
Wow, the wheels are spinning here. That is a great aspect of your business. That's incredible. And I know we're divulging what you're doing, but and I'm sitting here going, oh, somebody else is going to do this, but you're doing it specific to your region of the country, right? Because you're part of the deal is you can transport materials back to California. So if somebody's listening to this in Ohio, it's not harming you at all because their deal is they're going to get people from Ohio so they can transport their stuff back to Ohio.
Right.
That's great. Okay, so were you guys I don't know, enthusiasts about antiques before this all started, or is this from Ally going to school at Texas A&M and discovering what's going on in Round Top?
Funny you should ask.
Yeah.
So my husband's grandparents were antique enthusiasts. They would pull off the side of the road. They would go to the people's door, knock, ask to go through their barn. They would buy things. Like they were through and through. And I always thought it was, it was kind of cool, but I was never really that like into it. And it really kind of, I don't know, when Ally went to A&M and we started doing more of the
so they purchased a house when I came obviously to live in, and so we were like, okay, well, we have to decorate this house, and we have, like we said, agriculture roots, farm, all of that, so the whole vintage farmhouse antique thing is right up our alley in terms of style. So we found out about Round Top and we went and we were like, oh my god, like this is exactly what we love and perfect stuff. And again, and started kind of posting some pictures and people kind of saw. And then that's really probably the first time we went was to decorate the house.
Right. And my husband was like, you're really good at buying, but now you need to figure out how to sell this stuff. And so then it kind of just sort of evolved, really.
It's definitely been a learning process.
Yes, we've learned a lot.
But yeah.
Okay. Very cool. Now, you have, what's also interesting about this antique business and what I'm hearing from you is that you guys have an emphasis on farm and agricultural. It seems like to me, looking at the pictures on your Instagram page, seeing what's behind you, listening to you talk, I would assume there's other people out here doing what you're doing, but maybe farming and agriculture is not their thing. Maybe it's something different.
Right.
Yeah. So, I mean, our ranch is the ranch that actually my mom grew up on. And then we moved to when I was in elementary school. And we've always had cattle. And I grew up showing cattle on a national level. My dad owns a seed business. Vegetable seed business.
Okay.
And then we've always had animals, a herd of cattle. And so really probably this last year, at the beginning of the year, we said, okay, we have a great idea. The barn itself is like our main venue, obviously, which is on a working ranch. You're going to go, you're going to smell cows, you're going to hear goats in the background. And so we said, why don't we really take the agriculture part of it and really try to tie it in? And that's kind of where my passion lies the agriculture side of things. I have my own brand / business called Ag Chicks, where I'm really trying to have agriculture education, and I have a podcast too, so this is kind of funny. I'm on the opposite side for once. But yeah, just really kind of showing people, hey, this whole farmhouse thing, it's super cute on your white marble countertops in your home, but this is like what farmhouse looks like in our house, where there's shots and bottles all over the counter, and then there's like that
straw and everything,
the cute piece of decor in the background. So really kind of just trying to tie it all together, I guess, really.
My agricultural roots initially were my grandfather and father. They were vegetable farmers, so they farmed crop farmers. And when I married my husband, he came from the livestock side of things. So for me, I grew up around agricultural, crop farming, and then my husband bringing in the livestock. And so our kids have been grew up around that. And a lot of people, even though I'm a teacher, actually, my real job,
our real jobs,
people that I teach with, and that kids that I have, they're like, oh, you have animals. Oh, you live on a farm. And it seems like such a foreign concept to so many people now. And that's where we kind of thought, okay, yeah, this is cool. We're doing this antique thing. We love the farmhouse look and kind of bringing it all back to agriculture. But like really agriculture, people don't really get what goes on with agriculture. So that's where we decided to, and we had our logo is a Highland, and we were like, we wanted to get a Highland because my husband raises Angus cattle, and so we have cattle, and he was like, we're not doing the Highland thing, we're not getting involved in that. Well, then he did surprise us this year with 2 bred Highland cows.
Oh,
so
cool.
We actually have our own calves now, so we really have the cow,
our
living brand. But people were so excited about the Highlands and then the calves. And so they follow us, on Instagram and on Facebook and watch all that. So they've seen goats being born. And so we really are trying to kind of make it kind of pull it in from all angles of agriculture. We just realize people really don't understand.
Okay. Go ahead, Allie. Sorry.
I was just going to say, and a lot of our customers are, not to like categorize them, but they're people who live in the city and have no relevance of what the heck is going on, even just 10 miles out of town.
Right.
So those people who are coming to the barn and then they see the cow and then they start asking us questions. So that's kind of our way of being able to unofficially educate them, I guess you could say.
Right.
But just kind of.
And being a teacher for as many years as I have, and having as many kids come through my classes, like the kids are fascinated by animal stories and things that there was a morning that I had to call my principal and say, I'm going to be late this morning because the cows got out and I have to help my husband get the cows back in. And I mean, how many teachers come to school and say, oh, kids, I'm late because the cows were out. They're like, what? So it's like people are interested in that. So
yeah,
I think they're.
Yeah, hopefully.
We think they are.
I can answer that question. In Brentwood, California, there's one teacher that says that, and that is you. That's it. Yeah, that is it. What's your husband's name, Robyn?
My husband is Darren.
Okay,
Darren Spears.
I gotta advocate for Darren here for a second. So, am I understanding correctly that Darren's pride and joy, he's raising Angus cattle, and then his wife and his daughter start a business, and for their logo they use a Scottish Highlander?
Yeah, it was a little controversial, but we were like obsessed with them. And I mean, first of all, like the hair, they're fuzzy. They like have the funniest personalities. And we actually saw a picture of a Highland with crooked horns, and I like screenshotted it and sent it to my mom. And I was like, oh my God, this is the disorderly part to our logo. Like this has to be our logo. And so that's kind of where all of that came from.
And Darren resisted, and then surprised us with them. So he's slow. We sucked him into this slowly but surely. And he was here for 3 days helping us set up this booth. And so we're, he's come around, I guess you could say.
Okay. Allie, what did you study at Texas A&M?
I have my bachelor's in ag business.
Okay. Awesome. Okay. And then Robyn, we're in the midst of the school year. How in the world are you in Texas for this week?
Right. Yeah. Not really playing hooky, actually. I job share. So and the reason that I job share is because our son, who is a sophomore at the University of Oregon, he plays baseball. And so last year, I didn't want to miss his baseball games. I wanted the ability to travel and watch him play baseball. And I am literally, I'm at the point in my career where retirement is knocking really, really, really loud on my door. And so this was like a way to ease myself out after 30 years of teaching. It was a way to kind of ease myself out. So I'm job sharing. I have a partner that I teach with, and she's taking over for me while I'm here at the NFR. And then the distance learning thing also.
Sure.
As much as I don't like it, it has lent itself to me being able to travel and still teach. So.
All right, I'm finding myself increasingly jealous here. Your son is playing Division I college baseball. That's awesome. What's his name?
Robyn Spears.
Robyn Spears. What position?
He's a pitcher.
Oh, see, I was a pitcher at Davis High in Modesto, and I never got to play for a Division I college.
Well,
darn it. Awesome. I'm so jealous. That is very cool. So Robyn Spears. I've got my brother-in-law's dad is a huge Ducks fan. He's going to go nuts when he hears I talk to you guys. That's really cool. Well, That is awesome. Okay, so let me ask you about, so your 3 revenue sources. You've got the tourism of taking people with you on the junk journeys. You've got your, you're going out, you're selling, you're finding customers, you're selling things, and then you've got your barn sales, which is in the barn on your ranch in Brentwood. Am I understanding those 3 revenue sources correctly?
Yep, you got it.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
the website is we have a website that we finally did get up and going this year, and actually COVID kind of helped give us time to get that, and that took off this year because of COVID, I guess you could say.
Sure. Okay. So for the barn sales, is it just, hey, this is a working ranch, and sorry, how often do you do a barn sale? Let me start with that.
Well, we might actually get to introduce.
I know.
We have like a little surprise we haven't told anyone yet.
Oh, break it right here.
Okay. We do the barn sales twice a year. And the reason that we do them twice a year is because it is such a huge undertaking. Everything has to be, because it is a working ranch, where we live, there's no homes around us. It's all agricultural crops that get disked a lot. And so the dust and it's horribly dirty. So everything gets set up, and then we do the staging of everything, and we decorate. And then when the barn sale's over in 3 days, we have to put everything away because my husband cannot wait for me to get out of his barn so that he can have his barn back.
Okay.
So it's by the time it's over, like, we don't even want to talk about antiques. We don't want to look at each other. We're, hopefully we're speaking when it's over, that kind of thing. And so this has been going on for 3 years. And I'm not getting any younger, and neither is my husband. And finally, I convinced him that we've grown enough that I need my own, I call it my dedicated space. So as we speak here in Texas, as we're standing here, I have a little
contractor, I guess,
a little barn being put up at home that will be my dedicated space for the barn sales. So then we can have them a little more frequently than we've been able to do them at this point. So we're going to have our own little junk junction back at home that I can keep the antiques in.
Very cool. Okay, well, that was going to be my question, is the barn being cleared out and cleaned each and every time you do this, or is it completely dedicated, and are you building the farm business and structure around, I guess, agritourism in addition to people coming and buying products? But it's the other one. It's the working ranch that we've got to clean up and get ready for the 2 times a year we do this. But now you're moving past that. So very cool. And so when you were having your barn for your antiques designed, is it going to look modern? Are you having it built so it looks old and it conveys the image that you're all selling to? How's that going to look?
Well, that's a great question. And that's one of the things that we have done with our barn sales. We have walls that were made out of barn wood that was my grandfather's barn.
Awesome.
And those walls, we roll them in, and we use them as our
barriers for
our barriers. So behind the barrier, that's like the real barn stuff. And then in front of the barriers is where we have our stuff staged. So the barn that's being built is going to be, it's going to be more of a modern structure, but we're looking at how to put wood on the outside and to give it the look that we want it to have. So we're in the stages of trying to kind of figure that part of it out a little bit.
Very cool. That is awesome. Now, did I miss a revenue source? I came up with 3 from listening to you. Are there other ways? Like, are you on eBay and stuff like that, or Etsy or anything like that?
No, pretty much our website, the junk journeys, the vendor events, the barn sales, and then social media. That's really it.
Okay. Now, here you are. You've got a booth at Cowboy Christmas. Those booths aren't free. And I've paid for booths at a couple state FFA conventions and then at the national convention. And so I know how pricey this booth space can be. So when you're looking at going and doing something like you're doing there in Fort Worth, how do you have to, I guess, do you take just your best pieces? I mean, how do you figure out what to sell so you can come out as a profit on having this booth? Or is having this booth, if we make a profit, that's great, but we're here to expose people to us? I mean, which is it, or is it both?
it's really a little bit of both.
Yeah.
And we're kind of here on a wing and a prayer, honestly. We kind of, I guess, the reality of actually being accepted as a vendor here, I guess I didn't think it was really going to happen.
Yeah.
And here we are. So then when it happened, we were like, oh my goodness, we've got some serious shopping we have to do.
Yeah.
And so we shopped purposely for this event because we just had a barn sale at home.
Okay.
So our barn sale at home was in November. So everything we had stored here in Texas went to California and we sold. And it doesn't make sense to take things back from California to Texas. So we really just sourced our items for this show with this show in mind. But we both said to each other as we were shopping, like, we have to stay true to what has got us to this place so far. We're not going to completely flip what we buy for NFR. Like, we got to stay true to who we are as a brand.
Yeah.
And so, like I said, that wing and that prayer, because I have no idea. How do you plan for a 12-day show?
Yeah. Yeah. This is the longest show we've ever done. COVID is happening, so we don't really know what to expect in terms of attendance. But on the flip side of that, because people haven't been able to do things, they're more like, I'm ready to go do something.
Right.
So it's like, then do we prepare for mass chaos? So it's been kind of like,
so
crossing our fingers and praying.
Yeah. And my husband would say, well, you didn't have trouble buying because we have what we have in our booth, which I'm thinking our booth probably needed to be 4 times as big as it is, but we would have had to sell the house for that.
Right.
But we have a cargo trailer in the parking lot full of merchandise, and we have a storage space down the street full of merchandise.
Okay.
So we're hoping that it's really busy.
We're needing it to be very busy.
You've got plenty of inventory to restock with if need be.
Yeah, plenty.
Now you said you went shopping to prepare for the NFR. When you say you're going shopping for these antiques, what does that mean? Is it constant in Round Top? Is it always going on?
So
okay.
Literally, the planets aligned for us.
Yeah,
like, I don't know how. I don't know how, because the disorderly part of our life never allows for that. But somehow for this, it did. We were able to. I was on a break from teaching. We have a 2-week break in October. My school district. So I was on a 2-week break. I flew to Texas. Allie and I shopped at Round Top for 3 days. We shopped at the Dallas Market for a day. And then we also drove to Canton and shopped in Canton. So those were like 3 of the meccas of antiques, and they all happened to be happening at that time. So literally the planets aligned so that we could get to the places we had to get the items that we needed.
Fascinating. Is this, for me sitting here in my studio and talking to you, and I'm thinking about being on a farm, getting to talk with people who don't understand agriculture about farming, getting to do road trips to Texas, getting to hang out. I love Texas, by the way. I want a second home there, like what you're talking about. I want my daughter to go to college in Texas so I can go buy a house there and spend, a lot of time. But anyway, everything you're talking about sounds like a blast to me. Are you having a blast with it when you get to go out and shopping and you're looking for these items, then you get to interact with all these people? Or at some point, does it become like legit work?
I would say both.
Yeah.
We have been so lucky to be able to do this with each other. And the fact that I'm in Texas and she's in California, I think it's been one thing that has really kept our relationship very close. I mean, we probably
gonna get me all teary.
We probably talk like 10 times a day on the phone, sometimes about just random stuff that we're doing, or a lot of business conversations as well. I feel like I'm somebody who, like, my mind is constantly thinking of like the next thing to do. So sometimes she has to rein me in a little bit and be like, okay, whoa, we have like 13 things going on. Like, let's calm down a bit. But it really is a really cool thing that we get to do together. And then we love when we fall in love with a piece and then somebody else buys it and they are just as in love with it as we are. Like, that's the
or when somebody says, oh my God, that's so cool, or I've never seen that before, it's like, oh, we did that, we found that. And so there's like definitely like a weird satisfaction in having something that you found that somebody else wants. So there's that part of it.
If you would have asked me yesterday, the work part, I probably would have said, I quit. I'm never doing this again. I'm over it. And there's usually a few days of that when a big event is going on.
This has been a huge physical the physicality of loading, unloading, packing, carrying. My husband told me, he said, you guys, if you buy one more piece of furniture that you can't each carry yourselves, like, you're done. Because some of these pieces of furniture, I don't even know how much they weighed. And 2 nights ago, we all were just like, I wanted to just say, forget it. Like, we're leaving. We're going home. We can't do this. I'm too old. It was because of the physicality of it.
Okay.
Well, then when we get past that, and like tomorrow, when everyone starts coming into the booth and grabbing things, hopefully that's going to happen. Then we're like, oh, you just forget all about all of that. Like, it's all worth it. And that's kind of what happens every time we have a barn sale. I say, oh my God, what have I gotten myself into? And she's usually in Texas, flying in for the barn sale to help. And so there's a lot of time before that I am truly blessed with my family. As a matter of fact, my sister's in the back right now as we're over here talking to you. She's hanging at things. My nieces are here. I have an incredibly supportive family. Yeah. And when we do our barn sales, my dad works the gate. My mom is a cashier. My 2 other sisters are there cashiering. My nephews and nieces are carrying things and helping. My husband, my son. I mean, it's definitely a family affair, and we could not do it without their support. Her boyfriend made our walls for us. I mean, everybody does their little piece. So we're blessed in that respect.
That is awesome. Okay, so both of you still have full-time jobs. Is this something that is has the potential to grow into a full-time business for the 2 of you, and B, do you want it to go that route if it has that potential?
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of that's the direction it has taken. And like, when I first started this kind of idea, I thought, oh, that'd be so cool if, I could retire from teaching and have this antique thing to do. And it seemed like a pipe dream. And now it seems like it's a very real possibility. And, like Ally mentioned before, the fact that, part of my heart left when she went to Texas. And so now that we get to keep in contact, and we're doing something together, and we're building something together, well, what could a mother ask for? So yes, the answer to that question is yes. I think it's something that, I think it has legs. We just have to get it to run now. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And personally, so I'm still early on in my career. I've been working for 2 years now, and I actually just got accepted to grad school.
Oh,
so thank you. My kind of plan is to have this still kind of operating from a co-managerial standpoint with my mom. And once she's able to kind of take it over more full time, then it'll still kind of be a side gig, I guess you could call it, for me. But I would like to grow my personal career a little bit more too before I kind of step away from all of that.
Okay. What are you going to get your master's in?
So I'm going to get my master's in communications, with an education. The name of the department is like communications, education, and leadership. So it's like a 10-word department title. So focus on communications and extension.
You guys are phenomenal, and I would never, ever be so bold as to tell you how to do things. But one thing I do want to tell you, Ally, is that when you're going to get a master's degree, the first step is to knowing what it's in. I'm just saying.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're right. You're catching me on a bad day here. It's been a morning.
All right. That's really cool. Okay, so I can't get my eyes off this. It looks like an American flag in a picture frame over Robyn's shoulder.
Yes,
is that right?
Is.
That's really, really cool. Are you able to tell me a price on that?
It's tagged, I think.
It is $48.
That's it?
That's it. An antique frame and the American flag.
That is really cool. Man, I feel like I'm virtually shopping for antiques right at this moment.
Would you like us to give you a tour?
And that is actually something we started doing at our last barn sale. Because of COVID, people asked, like, oh, I can't be there. So we started doing virtual shopping. That was kind of fun.
Christmas is a week from today. I mean, if people are listening to this on the day it comes out, Christmas is in 1 week. If somebody sees something in the background, they see something on your Instagram page or your website or wherever, and they want it for Christmas, is there any way to make that happen with just 7 days to go? And less than that, actually, because of the holiday and the weekend.
Yeah, if you see something that you would like, please shoot us a direct message. If it's not available or if it's sold, we can usually either help you find a substitute or kind of give you some other options that might be similar to the item. Anything that's on our website is fair game. We can ship anywhere. for most of the stuff. So yeah, that's pretty doable.
Okay.
Pending
Awesome.
pending postal cooperation.
Yeah.
All right, and then before we wrap it up, Allie, let's take a second to give a plug to your podcast. So say what it is again and what's it about.
Yeah, so my podcast is called The Dirt, and it is my slogan is digging deep with those helping to feed the world. So I kind of have a focus on women in agriculture, but just really talking to individuals who are involved in the agricultural community and getting their side of the story.
Awesome. Okay, how do you find your guests?
Through Instagram, really, has
Okay.
been the most part, or just people that I know who are involved in the industry as well.
Okay.
But yeah, social media has been huge for me.
Awesome.
Internet searches.
Well, including the two of you, I have interviewed some really amazing women in agriculture. So if you're ever looking for guest suggestions, I know how hard that can be to come up with people. I'd be happy to share some of those ideas. Okay.
Yeah, that would be great.
Well, you guys, this is awesome. I'm super excited for you. It looks like a lot of fun. I would love to be at the NFR in Fort Worth right now. I love Fort Worth. I love Texas, and the NFR is just a blast. How can people find you? Give us all the different social media places, the website, everything, so people listening, they can find you.
I'm going to let you do that.
Okay.
I always mess them up.
So on Instagram, we're Junkn Disorderly Info. Facebook, same thing. And then our website is www.junk-n-disorderly.com. And I think that's everything for the business. Website, social media. Yeah.
Awesome. This has been a lot of fun, and I have visualized everything. It's been great. Thank you so much for joining me, and Merry Christmas to you. I hope podcasts are funny. This is coming out a week before Christmas. Obviously, the NFR is not a week before Christmas, so enjoy the NFR, and also Merry Christmas to you both. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you so much for having us. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Well, thank you for being here, everybody, and thank you to Allie and Robyn for coming on today. Merry Christmas to all of you. I hope you enjoy the rest of 2020, if that's even possible, and you have a great, great holiday season through Christmas and New Year's. And as always, enjoy your journey to the ultimate lifestyle business, agriculture.